What's happening, everybody? D here. It is January 24th, 2025. I just wanted to say thank you for everybody that joined me in the live session yesterday. I'm just going to do those periodically. And I try to give people a heads up. You got a few hours of a heads up on that one. I'd plan them more so, but I never know. I work when I feel like I can, and when my body's working more correctly. And I get workout as the health allows me to, I guess is the best way to put it. Today's a day, though, after all that work yesterday, where I catch up on other people's videos and some of the stuff that I've highlighted on this channel already. However, there's one gentleman that I need to get to, and I need to put here on the main channel to point you in that direction because I've had him on only one time and I couldn't find him. If anybody was on my channel and they remember this, summarizing the pandemic based on Sabrina Wallace, according to Chris Clutch, who is this gentleman right here. Networking protocols, biofield aura, COVID, jabs, blockchain, crypto, eugenics. I just reposted this, and I did that because if people want to go and check out this work, it was this interview with this other gentleman here. It is what it is on him. I don't even really know who he is. Anyways, a lot of people benefited from this guy because he kind of broke down some of the stuff that Sabrina Wallace teaches into more understandable terms, I guess, for some of us. If you're not understanding Sabrina Wallace as well, this guy is a good addition to that to help translate some of it so that you can better understand Sabrina Wallace. Ultimately, I'd love for you to understand what Sabrina Wallace is saying. Ultimately, I personally, myself, would like to understand more of what she's talking about. Like I've said before, I don't have all the time in the world to go and just study somebody. Otherwise, I would never be creating content or participating the way that I want to participate in the war of information that we have going on now. But Sabrina Wallace actually turned me on to his YouTube channel because I had shared this and we could not find where this gentleman was at. And he popped up on YouTube, and I will show you that. Boom, right here. So what this video is going to be is a fat chunk of this almost 2-hour presentation that Chris here gave. His podcast is the SixSeven podcast on YouTube. He's 6'7", used to be a basketball player. That's why he got the 6'7". And this was a live that he did. Thoughts on the transition featuring Sabrina Wallace. So in that previous live that I just did, we we're talking about the mRNA rollout, the data centers, Project Stargate. Well, you're going to get another take here. And for all of you, that are coming on this channel, and I said it in that video that I live premiered yesterday, I'm trying to have a channel that's balanced where you can have a belief specifically in perhaps the most polarizing topic here in America and much of the world, a belief in Trump and trust him, or you can be in that corner that doesn't trust any of these guys and thinks that they're all part of the same cabal, if you will. What was really cool about the live that I had yesterday, and I'm going to get to Chris here in just a moment, is that Sabrina Wallace joined us, and she was sharing some of her input on this kind of stuff. She's been following all this stuff for years, and that's what a lot of what she's talking about. Me bringing forward the guys like Redacted, Ian Carroll, and all these kind of people, like that. It's not even that I trust them. It's just that's the information that's being put out into the world. And therefore, I'll use that information to have our discussion on my channel, which incorporates people from all these different perspectives. And especially, in my opinion, very valuable Sabrina Wallace's information. So she was giving us information and she's in that. And I was asking her a couple questions. And it seems that she does believe that the elites are at war and maybe have been for a while now, but basically all the elites aren't in unison on the future of humanity. And that some of the elites do not approve of this rollout of the data centers and the digitwins and the various things that are the invasion of our bodies, the invasion of our biofields, and the ways that they are manipulating us and rolling this out. So what I'm basically doing on this channel is trying to have a balance between perspectives, but also expose like the grifters, the network gatekeepers, like this whole Flynn network and the various people that have been in the truther movement, specifically is where I come from. If we can free more minds out of these echo chambers and have these discussions about the things that seem to be becoming more obvious, the digit twins and healthcare, the things that Chris here is going to be pointing out, we can have these discussions and humanity can free ourselves from more of these echo chambers and more of us come together, then we have a say in the way that the future rolls out of this world. That's what I hope for this country. And so what you're going to get here in this video, 6-7 Live, Thoughts on the Transition featuring Sabrina Wallace with Chris here, is another teaching style. He's going to have his own perspective, but I've never shied away from people that oppose Trump or have a different viewpoint on how they view politics, and the interaction politics has on the rollout of these technologies that are in place. So, like I said, don't be triggered by anything that you come across that like hits you politically. Let's talk about these data centers. Let's have a further discussion. Like I said, that's going to be ongoing in time when it comes to the vaccines, mRNA, warp speed, COVID, the stuff that we experienced in the past. We're going to continue this discussion on this channel. And right now, I'm going to give you a fat chunk of this piece with Chris Clutch as he helps break down more of Sabrina's teachings. And if you see here in the background, you see this little poop emoji. He is like a master of like music, podcasting. Like he could do things like that are incredible. But that is Sabrina Wallace, and he's got his own style of presentation. He's fun, he's charismatic, he's goofy, but he's also very well read and learned on this information. And he has his own teaching style that I think will help people understand the things that you're not understanding when it comes to Sabrina Wallace. It's just another avenue that I want to go down. I got to catch up on Sabrina Wallace. I got to catch up on Juxtaposition today. And I've been watching finally the 6-7 podcast on YouTube with Chris here as he talks about this transition that I just did a video on in another light, bringing in some of the Sabrina Wallace information and then his understanding of what is taking place in the world today. So I'm going to hand this over to Chris, and then I'll be right at the end for you to give you an outro, because I don't want to take all of his material here. I want to point you from a chunk of it so that you get a good grasp on how he teaches and what he's doing, and then point you to his work. So I will catch you at the end of this segment on Chris's thoughts on the transition featuring Sabrina Wallace.
So Trimorphic says Zuckerberg and Elon have both kissed the ring of another foreign nation, which treats the U.S. as his bitch. And I think you're right. So we're not going to get political tonight. That's for a separate night. We're going to keep it kind of technical and kind of silly. So the first thing I want y'all to understand is that while most people were paying attention to the inauguration, my head was looking at everything but what y'all was paying attention to. The first thing I noticed is that every time I saw an American flag on any sort of oval, campaign, stage, desk, whether he's signing these executive orders, which shouldn't be, that's a whole, exploitation of the Emergency Powers Act, but whatever. Whether he's giving his little speech at the inauguration, whether it's the homeboy with the "I have a dream that one day black people and white people," and like, bro, what you talking about? Sit down somewhere. We all had heard the dream, we heard the speech. You over there talking like John Legend sings, like a whole chat bot, like an AI. That's what you look like up there. Anyway, we've seen it all. Yes, I saw him swear in without putting his hand on the Bible. Yes, I've heard plenty of Christians make 1,000 excuses for why that happened. Yes, I realize that they don't do a single thing by accident. They rehearse this. He's actually sworn himself in before and didn't forget to put his hand on the Bible. We're not even getting into that tonight. Tonight, we're talking about activating and unlocking, what, $500 billion, is it? 500 billion whole entire dollars to create something that nobody wants, that will not make you any healthier. In fact, it will probably exacerbate your health to a great extent. But that's the whole point of problem, reaction, solution. Yeah, I said the problem, reaction, solution for confusion. Oh, I said the problems, reaction. Y'all get it. All right, so we're not going to belabor with music much tonight. What we're really going to do is just highlight Sabrina's analysis of this, the dichotomy between where she sits looking at the bigger picture, which is where I sit looking at the big picture, and where most people sit who are focused on the election. So without further ado, I'm going to actually be posting this as its own standalone video, but for right now, we're just gonna do some commentary on it because I'm in the middle of tweaking the green screen and getting it all right, picking background. Anyway, this is what we got.
So as that continued, we're now here, which is everyone's wrapped up right now in the inauguration. Ain't gonna change any of what I'm showing you. Trump is not gonna tell the blockchain, okay, turn it off. I told you, augmented. For life extension technology. Did you guys in the blockchain tell people that you were violating God's creation by being under their skin? No. You sent out Karen Kingston to tell them they already had the mark of the beast and a demon field. Then you sent out Pavlov Lapova to tell them there was no nano. No nano.gov. Nope. Then you sent out more grandmas to scare them and tell them, just sit there and pray. It's all going to be over because Jesus is coming. Not a one of you found that disrespectful? Oh, you're wrong. A lot of people did. And a lot of people still do, because they come over here and they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You mean it's this simple? You connected our own anatomy to the wireless? You have a remote control and it's for my healthcare?
802.15.6 is in the IEEE Standard Working Group.
Because that wasn't enough. They got to turn you into something a little less biological and a lot more synthetic.
Why? Because it makes the input-output to their system a bit more efficient when they do that. They need you to be in a sick, diseased state because without the proper minerals, I should say in a malnourished state, because without the proper minerals, your body uptakes the synthetics minerals that they're introducing into your environment, to your diet, to begin building this intra-body system. You got to be in a fight or flight state for their system to be most effective. So, there's all kinds of things that I'm learning and that I'm trying to help put together as to the bedrock of how this works. We'll get into some of the details, but they need you to be a little less biological and a little bit more synthetic, because that removes your connection to this earth. That actually helps reverse what they're doing. And it actually helps enhance what they're doing when you're less biological and more synthetic, okay? So when he over here talking about some mRNA, you can cure cancer in less than 48 hours. Yeah, no, they're already doing this wireless system so that they can access you via your biofield wirelessly without your permission. And then they're gonna sell you on some sugar pill called mRNA. Pause. I know that mRNA is a thing. I'm not suggesting that it isn't. What I'm saying is they're using the one term that you're familiar with loosely enough that supposedly ended this pandemic as the one tiny 4-letter title that they can shoehorn all of this technology through that has nothing to do with mRNA at all. It's just they can't actually tell you that they can wirelessly access your biofield, and it's been kind of worked into the official terms of the official working groups of the official standards of this world. They can't just come out and say that. So they got to be like, well, mRNA? I mean, you don't know how it works, do you? I didn't think so. So, as far as you know, it's mRNA. mRNA, that's what it is. No, it's mr/na log in, says enter and enter, update. It's a separate thing, y'all. They're slow rolling you with what they talk about. So continuing.
What are they getting rid of? You're paying for your ability to breathe.
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna rewind it a bit.
More synthetic. And what are they getting rid of? You're paying for your ability to breathe. Carbon credits. And they're not getting rid of that. They're going forward. They're building data centers. Who is? Trump.
They're building data centers. Who is? Your boy, Donald Trump. Now this was said. She said this before the big announcement just yesterday or whatever about with Larry Ellison and the other two gentlemen. So some of us already knew the data centers was being built. A lot of y'all probably didn't, but that's okay. That's not the point. The point is he building some data centers, okay? And that's not for your health. That's to actually help maintain the digital duplications and the digital ledger that the constituency that he manages is developing, so that it's all in-house. Y'all know what it is? People, they already have your DNA. Well, yes, they do, but they're not sharing it. Okay, they got to get it a different way. 23andMe got to get it one way. The hospital system got to get it a different way. These outpatient clinics and these different labs, where you get blood panels on. These integrate into the bigger network. Bet, okay? Bet. Just take my word for it. We're not, tonight isn't about getting into the minutia of all the different realities. It's just really highlighting the like massive chasm that exists between what's really going on and people over there like, well, maybe RFK will get in there and HHS will. Maybe Donald Trump just got some bad advice, like maybe he didn't realize that the Bible, two of them was standing right next to him, and he just forgot to put his finger up. And also then maybe Elon Musk and Larry Ellison together convinced him. He lost the bet. Maybe that's what he was. He lost the bet. And that's why he decided to move forward with Project Stargate. Okay. Oh, it's called Stargate. Well, we've heard of Stargate before. Oh, it's about remote viewing. Oh, that's what they told you. Did they also tell you remote viewing was an additional category and network within the 802.15 working group? Did they happen to mention that? Oh, they let you see Stranger Things. They didn't bother telling you how it's not just a fake story. This is actually what actually has been going on since the 50s and 60s, if not before. And here you are just figuring it out in 2025. Let's keep it moving.
Are y'all set? There is no politician. It wouldn't have mattered. They're all doing the same thing. They lied to you. There's Hillary in her pretty red outfit. You're all still talking to the Department of Energy, QAI, as if the White Hats.
Ooh, y'all all still talking to the Department of Energy, QAI, as if the White Hats. Where we go one, we go all. Just might have been all the way around the corner up the road at the DOE. Yo, no, this is the truth. This is an AI above some particle collider at your local, I don't say your local, but somebody's local Department of Energy. Again, she said it's not a Trump versus Kamala thing. This is absolutely not partisan in this way. It wouldn't have mattered which politician it was. It wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered. Y'all, we had a comma. We went to war. No, that's what they wanted you to think, so that most of y'all could get on board with accepting and putting your energy behind the acceptance of the person who's rolling out the computer upgrades as we speak. Operation Warp Speed 2.0. Make America e-health again. Make America health e-health, health e-health, 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 healthy, health e, healthy, health, e-health. Health, e-health, healthy. You see what I'm saying? Oh yeah, if you've ever heard of electronic medical records. Yeah, no, we've all heard of electronic medical records, bro. You're like 30 years behind the curve with the concept of electronic medical records. Why are you announcing it from the White House day 2 and we still got all these other issues we trying to get corrected? That's what everybody I know who actually is voting is saying. Let's continue.
You still don't get it.
I'm going to rewind it just a little bit so y'all can kind of see what she said.
Same thing. They lie.
Let's go back to the politicians part.
Now listen, there is no politician. It wouldn't have mattered. They're all doing the same thing. They lied to you. There's Hillary in her pretty red outfit. You're all still talking to the Department of Energy, QAI, as if the White Hats. You still don't get it. They needed you to stay 6 feet apart and sit in your kill box to finish their digital twin databases for this right here. When your microwave and radio frequency engineers saw your COVID pain turn into salary and bonus gains, when the MIT student said, it's like there's an arms race for these equations for body area networks and visible light communication. That's right. And for those of you that go, oh my God, where is she? Why wasn't she out here? I was. Your Mikey Adams and his friends Brighteon were severe. They were very cruel.
Calling out names.
And dangerous towards the end, as it took me over to the Odyssey. So
now, here's the thing. That's her. She don't like Mike Adams. I don't have no feeling one type of way toward Mike Adams because I don't really pay attention to him. But to her point, Gatekeepers was gatekeeping this whole time because nobody was talking about the medical body area network. This official working separate subset of an internet class that's just for medical and AI precision healthcare and all the stuff that Trump and Ellison's already talking about. Nobody's talking about that. I am just poking my way around trying to figure out what's out. And all I knew is, they deal in problem, reaction, solution. And the reaction is so tech managed. And the doing, doing, doing solution is basically biotech. I mean, the name of the company is called BioNTech. I can't just help but call a spade a spade. Like, maybe the problem is also tech-based if the solution and the reaction are tech-based too. Don't have me say that sentence and say, the fifth generation, the acronym for the fifth generation wireless protocol, because fact check, shut down. That was my reality, 2021, 2022, and I was speaking about it. Oh, but it's fine to talk about it now. Why? Because everybody done shot the upgrade in them, for grandma's sake and everything. And now that Fauci is pardoned and ain't nobody gonna do a gosh darn thing about it, the show can continue. Fauci just sat on the toilet for the last 18 months, didn't say a single word. And here we are, pardoned. And then Trump just hopped in, didn't even say nothing about the pardoning of the worst war criminal that we know about. I mean, there's other bad ones, but in terms of what we know about, this dude basically needs to be hung. You see what I mean? But this dude didn't say nothing about it. All right, now here's what we're doing. Me and Larry Ellison and Elon Musk and Altman and your boy from OpenAI and the other healthcare guy, we're gonna actually roll out Stargate, which is the live drill, baby, drill. We're saying drill and we're saying Stargate in the same sentence in a public press conference so that y'all can know that we are going live with the very thing that Anthony Fauci helped lace into y'all ass this whole last 4 years. I mean, bad guy, right? But thanks, Joe, for the pardon, because at least I didn't have to do it. Anyway, next, everybody pay attention to this. What did the gay pastor say at the inauguration service? Like, let's talk about that and not the fact that your body is interconnected into this system in a way that I think is invasive and illegal and trespassing and very much like an adult's conversation that y'all don't seem to want to have, because y'all be wanting to have these like, well, Kamala wouldn't have been any better. Y'all really think that these people way down at the president level call shots? They got handlers, they got bankers, they got military folk, they got brotherhood boys. There's layers and layers. Y'all really think that this is how this works? The president just signs a bill. TikTok, oh. Don't ask me why TikTok was like, sorry guys, we had to shut TikTok down, but we're working with Donald Trump to make it back better. If you ask me, Donald Trump was like, listen, TikTok, this is how this is gonna go. I'm about to buy y'all out. We're not gonna make that public. Y'all gonna shut it down for 12 hours. Y'all gonna say, we're working with me to bring it back up. Y'all gonna turn it back on, in which case every single person who uses TikTok just saw my name flash on their screen in a favorable context. And then y'all gonna forget about that in 2 months, that they just banned TikTok for 12 hours. Like, what was that supposed to do in the first place? It's a joke, y'all. It's a whole entire clown show. I don't know how else to tell you. I'm gonna let Sabrina tell.
So there's a couple of my videos that are loaded back here, and guess what? You click on one of these and you're gonna see the exact same thing that I was saying in 2022. Now, you're gonna see the exact same human anatomy. You're gonna hear the exact same history.
I wish it had some
where
like
I come from.
organs.
You're gonna hear it all because it's right there, and it didn't change. You just lied. And then I can hear juxtaposition. Well, that's what they do. I do. I understand. I get it. Really, I get it. You are protecting your bank accounts. I get it. But you know what? I don't think the death of my child or my children...
All right, now listen to this part. Let me not joke on it.
I don't think the death of my child or my children or myself is worth your lying mouths. And instead of treating this the way you claim, which is the world's going to end any day, we have no idea what we're doing, oh my God, revelation is here, then why are you lying about God's creation? Because there ain't a one of you that he's going to look on. Not one. You're lying about his creation. You're leading his creation into the grave, all the while telling him complete garbage and hokum, telling him to be afraid every 5 minutes. And will my people perish for lack of knowledge, especially when the knowledge is denied from them at the very pulpit they're in the pews they're sitting in.
Ooh, my people perish for lack of knowledge. Hosea, oh man. Especially when that knowledge is denied to them from the very pulpit or audience or television channel or scientific journal or blog or Substack or podcast that they're listening to or reading, which is like 99% of all these publications out here. I'm trying to tell y'all, this is why I'm trying to come to y'all with dignity, poise, and make a little bit of noise. Because I need y'all to understand, we're further into this game than they would have us believe. A lot of y'all be hearing high-pitched noises. A lot of y'all be feeling like something's off in the air. A lot of y'all can feel external, especially computerized stimuli affecting you in your physical space, but you don't know how to actually place it anywhere. You don't know why. You think you might be the only one. You don't know what to call it or what to make of it. I can help clarify that. My name's Chris. I'm not an astrophysicist or like a super duper nerd. I'm just a smart guy who likes to learn how things work. If I geek out on anything, it's I geek out on learning how something works. So I wanted to learn, how does this internet of bodies really work, and what is this whole biofield all about? And what I learned is that the human electrical experience is very interconnected by default. Certain people have stronger biceps and certain people have smaller biceps. I'm very tall. I am also very skinny, okay? So I don't have great strong biceps. I have much longer legs than you, but I probably don't have thicker thighs than you on average. However, the biofield as a body part is this body part that we all have, and certain people have a greater strength over it, and others have a lesser strength or ability to control it or identify it or perceive it. And a lot of us are working from the deficit that we all just kind of were dealing with this since we've all been born or shortly after. So it's hard to kind of parse out what's foreign if it's been around your whole life, you know what I mean? So with that said, I'm gonna continue with my talking, but I just want people to like I want to present something serious in a completely like a ludicrous way, because I want people to watch this and be like, okay, that was either the craziest thing I've ever heard or he's making a lot of sense. And I'm putting myself in this context because I think this is all you're hearing on television. All you're used to hearing on TV all day is a pile of cow manure. Refined compostable dookie with a capital K and a lowercase d. It stank. So I said, okay, if y'all just want to hear a bunch of bullshit, I can be on my bullshit too. I'm gonna let Sabrina be on hers.
There's no excuse. None. There is no excuse. This should have already been handled, but instead, you put all your faith in men. Orange-haired guys, all these, I'm a doctor, I'm cybersecurity. You're frauds. Look at this. Man, this is Non-Vaxxers channel, so we'll be here all day. And you'll be watching MIT, the European Union, market size and growth in nanomedicine, IEEE MBS. You'll see a bunch of my educational stuff too, but this type of stuff, NATO, NASA, CERN, the National Nano Institute, Biosensing and the Optical, these are white papers that he recorded the AI reading to you, because I was like, dude, I'm reading so many papers. And, you know, people are whiny. I don't like her. So he had the AI read it to you. Thanks. You're welcome. We don't care. Dude, you're not hurting my feelings, believe me. Nobody cares. They really don't. They're like, Brina, I don't know anybody who complains about your hair. Well, that's good, don't you think? Can we start talking about the molecular communication, the MK Ultra past to the present, chemical biological is merged with cyber and AI, and it's changing our ability for non-consent, straight from Giordano, of course.
Did y'all hear that? Can we get to talking about chemical hold on, I'm gonna go back to this part.
The MK Ultra.
So I want y'all to hear that part.
Don't you think? Can we start talking?
Joey Roots, I will post who this is. This is actually a female. Her name is Sabrina Wallace. I pitched her voice down on purpose because I want it to be like, I want people to not necessarily know who it is at first. And I want them to seek out who it is. Because everybody who ain't trying to seek out what this lady was saying, y'all not trying to know no way. And everybody who is, when you seek it out, you'll find it. And the information will blow your mind. So if it's coming from a talking piece of dookie at first, great. Just as long as it gets your attention, you can pay attention to it. Her name is Sabrina Wallace, by the way.
About the molecular communication.
Can we talk about the important things like the molecular communication? That's molecule to molecule, being able to externally identify and assay what the state of your cellular molecules at any point. And separately, being able to have certain relay nodes within you using intrabody terahertz nano networks. You might not have ever heard that word, but there's entire college courses and job descriptions that specifically specify and that specific speciality, okay? That communicate, glucose levels, electrical states that can then get modeled and translated into something in a bigger system and then passed either via bootstrapping to your Apple Watch, your phone, your Fitbit, your iPad or whatever, or via the electromagnetic frequencies that come off your body having been interfaced with what they called the cyber secure, cyber physical backbone. So if I'm hitting you with a lot of terms, trust me, I ain't hitting you with near as many as she would. I was sitting there like, whew, whew, all the terms flying my way, whew, ducking down, smacked in the face like, whoa. Never heard this acronym before. This is the 73rd thing I wrote down I need to look up. But one can learn this, and one can at least wrap their head around what this lady's talking about, because it's all backed up by white papers from the departments and the different agencies themselves, by Department of Defense warfare manuals. Our current warfare doctrine, what they define as warfare, is what's called network-centric warfare. Network-centric. That don't mean motherships off the coast of New Jersey. That's not what that means. That means we might just kill you, and we might just license your own oxygen and your own health back to you if you was foolish enough to sign for our contract. And sorry we didn't tell you that you shouldn't do that. In fact, that guy over there tried to tell you, and we told Mark Zuckerberg to tell the other guy to tell them that you can't hear that information. Now we got Mark Zuckerberg out there like, oh, I'm so sorry. But it doesn't really matter now, does it? Because exactly what we wanted at the time in 2021 is exactly what we accomplished. Everybody who was going to get it and a whole bunch of people who wasn't already got it. Everybody who wasn't going to get it still didn't get it, no matter how much bullying and peer pressure they faced during that season. Back to Ms. Wallace. I'm going to let her talk her thing.
Can we start talking about the molecular communication, the MK Ultra past to the present? Chemical biological is merged with cyber and AI, and it's changing our ability for non-consent.
Whoop! Chemical biological is merged with AI, and it's changing our ability for non-consent. Woo, that's a mile high meringue pie. Ooh-wee. That's a lot. She just said a whole lot in a little bit. It's changing our ability.
And it's changing our ability for non-consent, straight from Giordano. These are jobs. You're telling people it's aliens.
She brings up a great point. These are jobs. Okay, now if you ever do catch her work, and she always mentions, okay, they're jobs. Tell me HOW, how? Okay, these are jobs, right? The jobs she's referred to are the fact that people's actual job description particularly once you get past certain security clearances, is just to go to work and snatch up a PlayStation controller and wirelessly log into patient X, patient Y, patient Z for whatever reason. Maybe it's a they're targeting you for some reason. Maybe they're not targeting you for some reason. Maybe you have biohacked your way into being an augmented human, and you enjoy and embrace the idea of human augmentation. And your liver is kind of feeling, well, you shouldn't have took them 3 Tylenols to get rid of that headache and drank a whole handle of vodka. That's what's called liver failure under normal circumstances. But hold on one second. What's your log in and slide the slider up. Okay, glutathione. Okay, give me some. Okay, boom. These can be wirelessly stimulated. I believe that the doink, doink, doinks was about getting more relay nodes inside your behind so that you can, so that the multiple input, multiple output MIMO situation configuration can get the broadband, can get the dial up closer to broadband in terms of its delay, its latency, and its bandwidth in general. So if I'm saying a lot, trust me, I ain't saying as much as she is. I'm trying to be nice to you. I'm trying to put it in the blender and whip it on down. Put the forearm into it and whip it. With the wrist, put the flick of the wrist in the right situation so y'all can listen to Chris and Sabrina at the same time. Anywho.
Good stuff, right? I'm loving this Chris guy, and I'm so stoked that Sabrina pointed me towards his YouTube. I couldn't find him for the longest time. And we are going to end this episode for this channel, but I know you're going to want to watch more, right? You're going to want to see what happens next. So I got it all lined up here. So the 43-minute mark is where we left off from the clip that I just showed. And so I wanted to show you that. And then I'm going to have the links down below this video like I always do. And some of you don't check the links, and you should really check the links because it would really help you out. But I'm going to have a link directly to the source of that link, which you'll also be able to get to his full, YouTube channel. But I'm going to also have a link right below that literally leaves off where we just stopped. And I left a cliffhanger there so you can hear more of Sabrina and more of Chris right at that mark, 43 minutes. So if you click this link, it'll go right to where we left off. And then I'm going to have a link right to Sabrina Wallace on Odyssey so that you can go check out her work. I'm catching up on Sabrina today as well. And then I'm going to have at least one link here to juxtaposition on Substack, which is the Sabrina Wallace on military terms, GIG, net-centric, wireless sensors, IOE, techno-enslavement systems, human activity recognition radar, HARR, trace, track, and target civilians. So I'm going to have all that lined up for you down in the description. Like I said, I'm catching up on all these today too. I'm enjoying it. I hope you guys are well. We're heading into the weekend. So God bless you all. And if you have any questions, put them down in the comments. Otherwise, I will talk to you on the next one. Peace.